Hey everybody! Welcome to Black Girls Inc. featuring Black Men's Inc. as well. Today we are doing our first ever couples panel. And today my co-host is not Sugar Mama, but it is the love of my life, my hubby, Brother Goose.
Yeah, Brother Goose.
Don't say much right now, but I'm sure he'll talk later. You ain't even gonna say hi?
Oh, I was just, waving out there for a second.
All right, babe.
I wasn't going to interrupt you talking.
Thank you, babe.
Such a lovely.
Oh, thank you. You never interrupt me. I love that. Okay. So I want each couple to introduce yourself, and then I'm going to have a couple who wrote the book tell us what the book is about. So let's start with the king of romance first.
Okay. It's your boy Rajeen, the king of romance, here with my lady,
Leela.
And we're glad to be here. Thank you for having us on Black Girls Inc.
Yes, all right. Next.
Okay, is that us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we are Martha Mildred Clark, and we are founders of an organization called Love Alive, and we birthed our first book during the pandemic.
Nice.
Yay! And our newlyweds down bottom.
Hey,
Hello.
I'm Sienna.
All right, and our other lovely couple who also wrote a book, the Oodle couple. Hello.
Hi. So we're Anthony and Latoya Odell, and yeah, we've been married for 21 years, and we have just recently written a book called Together We Stand.
Awesome.
Man, 21 years.
Right?
Yes.
Longer than we've been walking.
That's goals right there. Goals.
All right. So before we get started, I actually decided to create this panel because of the lovely couple who I have actually interviewed before on our podcast that created the book B. And I love the book so much that I said, man, it would be so great to do a couples panel. And we base our questions specifically off of their book. So can you guys please tell everyone about the book and what made you guys decide to write this book?
The book has been in process of being written for a while, at least in our minds, and we've been encouraged to do it for some time. But it was 2019 that we actually sat down to actually put pen to paper and to birth the book. But it didn't come to fruition until, like I said, the pandemic. So in March, April, we published it. We did not have a chance to do a huge book launch or anything like that, but people have bought it. And so far, it's been a blessing to those who have read it. And that was our biggest desire, is to make sure that it was a blessing to people and that it would really help them. And I think that during this time of pandemic was a good time for it to come out. And I was listening to the other couples that they've been married for 21 years. We've been together for 41.
Oh,
We talking about some more goals. We trying to get these goals up.
So, with that being said, because as they said, their book's been going so well, obviously because we making a show off of it. So this is basically like tea time, and we're about to give y'all a preview of the book and how it can work in your relationship by asking all these couples the questions that's based off of chapters from their book. Now, we ain't going to do all the chapters because y'all need to read the book yourself to get some of that goodness that they sharing, okay? We're going to do some of it. So before we start, I would like the couples to explain how they met. And I would like to start with the Oodle couple.
All right. So, you want to do it?
We met at work at our Saturday jobs at Boots, the chemist, and at the beginning I didn't actually like Anthony. Just from one community sake. but once I got to know them, I thought you.
Wow, that's amazing, man.
Yeah,
She gonna cry.
We didn't go out. She went there
I think I worked there for about a year.
and then she left for a year. Then she came back to visit, and then we met up again, and then the rest is a beautiful story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. All right, let's go to the newlyweds. How did you guys meet?
So we grew up in the same neighborhood, pretty much.
Like a block away from each other.
Yeah.
And so we went to the same middle school. And it's like 8th grade, and I had a crush on him. He had a crush on me, but couldn't admit it. So when I asked him and he said no, I was like, oh, okay, that's it. That's it for him.
See, and the funny thing is that I had an inkling that she may have had a crush on me, but me being so ill-equipped to deal with the opposite sex, I felt put on the spot when she asked me that. So I just kind of shut down and said no.
Yeah, so we didn't bump paths again until I think it was my sophomore year of college. He had messaged me on Facebook. A mutual friend posted a picture, and I saw him. And I was like, I think I went to school with him a long time ago. So he ended up reaching out, and we went for a walk one night after work and school. And we just never stopped talking. We don't even really have, the anniversary we picked because we just talked nonstop that whole week, and it just kind of blurred into one day.
Oh wow! Look, snaps to that. Look, it took a while, but y'all together now. That's all that matters.
I know, right?
Going on
Man.
5 years now.
All right, to the lovely Clark couple. How did you guys meet?
We actually met several times. One time I don't even remember us meeting, but he remembers me. That's when we were kids playing at one of our neighbors' house. But our formal meeting was at church. So we met each other at church. His father was a pastor, and I happened to join the church, and we met from there.
I'm a musician, and I was playing, so there would be occasions, and she's a singer, so she can sing, and I could play, so there was opportunity for her to come and sit on the bench next to me and learn songs. So, we started like that, and we were friends, and actually we were probably around before that time, we were actually talking to different people. And then, but we became friends. And then it was a little bit later after we graduated from school that we actually decided to make it a couple thing. But we started out as friends, and it evolved into a relationship.
And we joined together at the tender age of 19.
Oh wow! Okay, couples goals. We start. I know, Dave. There you go.
I've been around since season 1.
All right, Dave. Thank you. And moving on, not last but not least, but close to last, the romance.
So Leela and I are 2020 babies. So that means in this new era, we met online. So we met on a dating site. Which the cool part about it was that from the first time I met her, from day one, we fell in love with each other from day one. And I never believed in love at first sight, but so from the time we met, from our first date, it was like we've been inseparable. You can ask her daughter and her son. We've been inseparable since day one. Right? So yeah, it's been like I said, I'm looking for 40 years too. So I I need to read this book so I can get my 40 years in.
Right?
For real.
Right?
Yep.
What about you, Lila? What did you like about the King of Romance? I'm trying to get some tea.
Yes, tell it.
Just conversation. We just talked the whole time, nonstop. And we just kept talking and laughing. We laugh a lot.
Yeah, and talk about people.
Y'all is funny.
We went on our first day. We sat downtown. We sat at a cigar lounge for about 3 hours just talking about people. People walking by, talking about homeless people. We was talking about everybody. Just about 3 hours. She smoked her first little baby cigar. And we had a nice time. Yep. So, but like I said, we've been inseparable ever since. Definitely.
Okay. That's what's up. And first of all, let me just say Lila is dope. You said she chilled with you at the cigar shop?
We went out to eat first, and then we downtown Orlando has a really nice kind of elegant cigar lounge. And we went to the cigar lounge, sat outside where you can actually just, sit there, have a drink and watch people or whatever. So she told me she wanted to be a boss. She said, I'm gonna get me a cigar because I want to be a boss. Okay. So she got a little small cigar about that big. She said, I'm a boss now. I'm like, okay, you a boss. So sat there and watch people. And like I said, we've been literally inseparable ever since. So yeah.
I love that.
So the funny part about it is I told my best friend was staying with me at the time, and I got home probably about midnight, 1 o'clock, something like that. And I talked to him about 3 o'clock in the morning about her. And he told me, he said, look, you in love with that girl already. He said, that's gonna be your woman from now on, guarantee you. Sure enough, we've been, like I said, inseparable ever since. So like I said, I'm gonna get my 40 years in. So
Snaps to that.
If she don't get rid of me before then, but I'm working on it.
That was a lovely story. Brother Bruce, you want to tell them how we met?
Yeah, let's see this.
Oh boy.
Tell them how we met. It's funny.
Which version should I give them? The truth or the truth?
He's a joke.
Well, I was over one of my best friend's house, and I was just playing this PlayStation 2 007, everything or nothing. And he stepped out and said that he was going to go meet up with his lady friend. But found out his lady friend was on her way over there. And the next you know, I see this chocolate Hershey Kisses coming on in the house. And I was like, what? She like, I could play. You like to shoot? She like, I like to shoot. So we got into it. Her friend sat between us, trying to separate us. But
hey,
I was like, hey, I was single at the time, so but she already had a friend, so respect the boundaries.
Yeah, Sister Goose, she's a one-woman man at the time. I wasn't giving them no play. One man, one woman. I ain't mess with other people on the side. That's the point. Okay. So I ain't give them no play. But I played that video game though. But what happened is later on, I end up breaking up with that person, and the friend that we had mutual was like, you should talk to, my friend, because he was digging you or whatever. I was like, all right, okay. I was like, Toya, I didn't like him at first, okay? Because when I went to go chill with him, he was watching Pokemon. I wasn't with that. Like, Pokemon. I wasn't with that. Because you know what hit my man? You know how women overthink things? I was like, that's a boy in a man's body. I'm done. That's what I thought. But I was wrong because we had one night where we talked, and I really, really got to know him.
Wow.
And from that conversation, I heard an inner voice tell me, that's your husband.
What? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Here we are.
I'm trying to play.
I'm not gonna lie, I did try to throw some slide chords back then. I tried to throw some moves, but the kitty didn't want straight from home.
That's right. I wasn't with that.
Nice. That's a beautiful story though, for real.
Yeah, so we've been rocking ever since. Playing video games too.
Hey, I'm trying to get her to play Call of Duty.
So I'm going to start asking the questions based from the book. And I want to start with our couple who've been together for 21 years. Why not put it on first?
Okay.
So I want to ask you a question. Why do you think it's important to have accountability in your relationship?
Good question. So, I suppose, for me, we built a team, and that's kind of the basis of everything that we do. And within that team, I think there's a place in every relationship where you need to give the other person permission to hold you accountable and a space to hold you accountable, so that there's never like, because if you're truly a team, then the goals are shared, the objectives are shared, the reason why you want to do, or the places that you want to go, the things you want to achieve should be shared. So this is the person that I want to be my check and balance. To say, because you could easily get carried away and caught up and like think I'm going after this thing, but it's important that I've got someone close to me that, as my wife, who says, and I slow down, and maybe we need to go a little bit faster or whatever. But I think it's the accountability side of it comes with that shared responsibility. So personally, I think that if you know that I know that I'm holding her accountable, she's holding me accountable, it allows us to stay on track, allows us to stay focused on the things that we've agreed. And then it goes down to negotiation. We negotiate things at different points, because as we grow and we change, the objectives might alter, but we should still be alive. What do you think?
Yeah, and he just said everything I was going to say. So yeah, I think everything he said was right.
Okay, I love that answer. And with that being said, I'm going to ask the couple about the book. Why was it important for you guys to put that chapter in there for couples to read about the accountability?
Okay, accountability. Very good, very important. And there are levels to accountability. First, we need to start with the accountability to teach to each other. Because we stand up there, wherever, in front of the official, and we make a vow. We form a covenant. And we say we're going to do a whole lot of things. But the fact is, very few of us really know how to do those. We make some promises, sometimes beyond our ability to deliver at the time. So our first accountability, as Anthony said, is to each other. And that's why we're in it together. And we're our first phase of accountability. Now, in the book, we talk about the level of accountability from an outside or third person. And that needs to be a vetted, seasoned couple or a community that will hold us responsible for the things we say and do. And someone who cares enough about us to tell us the truth, tell us when we're wrong, because we tend to think that if we're having problems with the other person's part, they would just do right. the problem would be solved. So sometimes someone needs to tell us, no, it's you. And so seeking accountability partners is important. First level, each other. Second level, find someone you can trust, vet them, and let them become part of holding you together. There's a verse that says a three-strand cord is not easily broken. So we need help in this process.
Okay. The Bible tells us that iron sharpens iron. And that's the reason why we say we need other people, a community of people who will actually speak life into your relationship. Because what we found is a lot of times, especially as young couples, we tend to lean on our friends, our peers. And don't get me wrong, you can, as long as they are inclined and trying to get to the same place that you are. But if you are going through the same thing that your friend is going through, and you all are going to come together at some point, and all you're going to do is help each other to stay at that point, because you're going to be saying, oh, girl, yeah, I know how you're doing. I know how that is, and I wouldn't put up with that. And the guy said, man, I wouldn't put up with that. You know, you need to put her in her place or whatever. You know, so we have to be real careful, because we have to vet the people, and we have to have people who are walking in wisdom and understanding of what this life is about.
Thank you for sharing that wisdom right there. Look, I was taking notes. I see people in the audience is taking notes too. Thank y'all. So with that being said, we're going to move on to the next question. And I'm actually going to ask our King of Romance couple, Mr. and Mrs. King of Romance. Why is it important to show affection in the relationship to you? Why do you feel it's important to show affection in your relationship?
So I feel it's important because I feel like your partner needs to know that you're there for them, in a sense. They need to know that, you know, how you feel. Like I said, I've been in a situation where you feel like you don't know if that person starts to distance themselves from you, then you don't know how that person really feels. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I think we as humans have emotions, and the chemistry that we feel can be negative or it can be positive. And if you're feeling the negative chemistry, then I kind of feel like sometimes that comes from not having that, you know, not knowing that emotion, or not knowing how that person really feels. You know, you get what I'm saying? So, you know, for me, it's good to know, like Linda's very affectionate, you know, and I think that I'm the kind of person that needs that. You know, I need to know that she's there. I think we talked about this on one of the other shows that I hosted, that, you know, it's times that I wake up in the middle of the night and she might roll over and just tap me on the back, just to see if I'm still there, you know? And so, and I'm not sure. And like, for me, it's something that I enjoy. I'm glad she does it, and I'm glad it's there, you know, because I feel like I need her and she needs me. You know what I'm saying? So how do you feel?
I think the same. You have to show your partner that you care for them and want to be with them, so they don't have to guess or worry.
Yeah, and I think that bond is needed. Sometimes we get complacent and we get used to each other. And I'm sure after 40 years, I mean, I'm not like, y'all wrote a book, so I know y'all know what y'all doing. But like I said, it's you know, if you don't know, like if you don't know any better, you'll start to get complacent. You know, you'll walk around each other all day. Like, you know, we tell each other, hey, I love you, or, you know, she'll just out of the blue, hey babe, I love you. All right, babe, you look nice today. And I do the same thing, because I think it's important that she knows how I feel about her. You know, she knows that she's the apple of my eye. When I see her, you know, that's my baby. I love that woman right there, you know, so, and she knows that. And I think it's important for her to always know that, not just in the beginning, but 20 years from now, when I get to Anthony and Latoya's 20 years, I hope she feel the same way. When I get to that 40-year mark, I hope she feel the same way. So yeah, that's why I feel like, you know, affection is, you know, it's very important in a relationship.
Okay, I love that. If y'all could do me a favor, you don't have to, but you're talking more with me. Whenever it's not your turn, if you can, put your mics on mute because it's echoing for me.
Okay.
Can't, it's okay. I just don't want it to sound too echoey for our audience. Thank you, guys. Okay, so that was it. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. And I feel bad because the little couple, we got to go all the way. That's true. We do get us work out. Thank you, babe. You always make me feel better. Okay. So I want to ask the couple who wrote the book, why was it important for you guys? Why did you feel like that needed to be in the book? And I'll go on mute on that one.
Okay. In referencing the book, how important is affection? Affection is extremely important. For one thing, it's difficult to fake affection because when you give affection, it only counts if it can be felt. You know, you give it and the person can receive it and they feel it. They may not can explain it, but affection crosses barriers. It crosses more than just touch. You know, you ever had your special person to touch your arm and then you feel it all through your body? Because that's the affection representing the touch. Now, other people touch and you don't touch me, but you know, when someone that you're connected to is a different. There's a quote in the book, and I'll read it. It says, "We can live without religion and meditation, but we can't survive without human affection." There have been studies that maintain that humans will die if they're not touched. Babies will die.
Old people will die. You will wither if you are if you can't get touched. And that's one of the problems or one of the challenges in this pandemic, because not being around people, it takes out that factor of being able to receive affection, and touch, you know, is very important. Yeah, and one of the things that we try to encourage, especially when we're with couples, is make sure that you touch each other every day. And I'm really concerned about those people who are alone during this time because they don't have that. So I really pray hard for them. But for us who have people in our homes, we need to, I tell couples, we need to hug at least 20 seconds a day. And more than that if you can. But hold on to each other as long as you can, because after a while, I don't know if you've ever hugged anybody so tight until everything that's in them goes limp because they needed that particular touch. It's like a weight will fall off of them. So when you have that kind of love and togetherness in your home and you do that on a regular basis, there's just a strong connection. And it talks about in the book, and I'm not going to try to read any of it, but in the book, it talks about how healing that is. And I don't mean just it's healing to your mind, to your body, and to your spirit. And this is not just us talking. This is based on research. This is scientific research that says this is something that is needed in everybody's life. Everybody needs to be touched. And the best way to touch anybody, whether it's your friend, your family, your husband, your wife, your children, is to give them a good, strong, tight, hug.
And hold it for at least 30 seconds.
Hold it for at least 30 seconds.
Until you feel them relax in your embrace. You know how some people are a little adverse to touching and hugging. You know, I don't like to be touched. But if you can grab them and hold them for 30 seconds, they'll relax. You'll feel them exhale. You'll feel them lean into it because it's so important, and we all benefit from it. So grab your spouse, your children, your parents, your cousin, the dog, the cat. Everybody likes to be hugged, you know.
I love that. And I'm telling y'all, look, I love this book because not only do they talk about these topics, they give you exercise to do after these chapters. Like they was explaining about the hug thing. That's an exercise they give you to do in the book. So they're not just explaining stuff to you and breaking it down for you. They give you tools and exercise to do to really help you and show you how it can really make a difference in your relationship. And I really want to ask all the couples this question, because it was hard for me. Was it hard for any of you when it came to the affection part? Because for me, it was. And he had to get me you. Like, when we did the exercise, it was really hard for me. I love my husband. You know, I love him. But it was hard for me to do the holding hands thing, because he likes to hold hands. He likes to hug. You know, so I'll be like, no, my God, you know. But as we moved on, and the communication and love got stronger, I looked forward to those hugs. I look forward to that, you know, touch of the hand and stuff. But it was hard for me at first. Was it hard for y'all, or was it just me?
I think it's different. Like, for example, the difference between you and him was, like you said, you didn't like him at first, so you started liking him afterwards. I felt since I fell in love with her from, like, I didn't believe in love at first sight, honestly. So until I fell in love with somebody from, you know what I'm saying? So, and like before, I wasn't the type of person that walk around holding hands, and, you know, I didn't want to be hugged. And she's very affectionate. So, and it wasn't hard. It was just something new for me, because I had been single so long, and I took some time off because I wasn't ready to date. And so when I met her, it was something new for me. And I had been alone so long that it was like, man. So it wasn't hard. I just had to realize how much I liked it. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, because when I go places, I want people to know this my baby. You know what I'm saying? So I don't mind holding hands. I don't mind hugging and blah, 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 because, you know, I want people to know that, hey, this is my woman, you know? So, and I waited, I guess, in my sense, I waited my life for her. You get what I'm saying? So as a man, sometimes our ego gets in the way. You know what I'm saying? We got that hard shell to where, you know, we so hard that we don't know if we want to hold hands or not. You don't know if you want to, you know, show public affection, blah, blah, blah. But when you find somebody that you fall in love with, all that goes out the window. You know, like even my friends tell me, you're gonna be married before the next year. You know, and I'm like, I ain't gonna be married the next year. And I'm just talking because, you know, it's just talk because, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, I got friends that hold me accountable, like we were talking about earlier. You know, they do hold me accountable for, you know what I'm saying? They like, you love her, you know what I'm saying? Be in love. You know, they don't come around and be like, nah, bro, that's too fast. You know, they're like, look, be in love her. If you love her, love her. You know what I'm saying? If she makes you feel that way, if she's the person that you've been waiting for most of your life, then God sent her to you. And I tell people all the time, and I don't want to take up too much of everybody else's time, but, you know, I say I prayed for her for a long time, you know, and God just didn't. I don't think God felt I was ready for the right person as of yet, because I wasn't going to do right, you know? And so I felt like when God thought I was ready, he sent her, he put her in my life, and like, okay, well, here you go. I waited. I feel you're ready. Don't mess it up. So I have no intentions on messing it up, God, while you be listening to me. So yeah, like I said, it wasn't hard for me, definitely. I know I went the long way, but it wasn't hard.
Okay. I'm going to ask our 21-year couple, then I'm going to ask the newlyweds. Was it hard for you, 21? You know, I love that number, 21 years. Was it hard for you at first?
For me, it was. Anthony he loves hugs. He like, yeah. Yeah, he loves it. But for me, I was like, for kids, I could do it. I could hug all day children. But when it came to another adult, I was like, But I had to kind of learn. I had to learn to love him the way he receives love. So that was his love language. And I had to learn that. And then gradually, now it's me all over him. And like we make a conscious effort, like Mark and Mildred, we hug for 30 seconds every morning.
before we get out of bed.
Before we get out of
the
bed.
first thing we do.
Yeah.
And we've been doing it for a while now.
Yeah, and then it's the peace thing. So when Anthony will say, like, he'll get in the bed and I'll say, how do you fall asleep so quickly? And he'll be like, because you're my peace. So as soon as we embrace, he's gone. You know, so I think it was hard for me, but I've learned.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I don't think I struggled with the being affectionate. I kind of feel like I just know how to love, but I needed the right person to love, you know. And like Regine said, God sent me Latoya, and thankfully I was aware enough to not take her the way she reacted at first as a rejection, and just to understand that it's just different, you know, because, and you know, even like in family situations, so I could see that it wasn't just with me, it was just kind of just the way she was. But as time went on, like she said, we worked it out. We talked about it. We worked it out, and now it's like a distant memory. Like, you know, thinking about times when we didn't do it seems really far away, seems really foreign. So yes, it's so important. It's so important to just take away all of the questions, all of the doubt, and let them know, you know, 100%. So there's no, you know, no one could say to him, yeah, but are you sure? Yeah. Everyone sure. The whole world should. Yeah.
I like.
Hey, Sister Goose.
Yeah.
Real quick, Anthony. I'm working on my English accent, and if I get my English accent, I'm getting me 20 years.
You do that.
We just said the same thing. I'm going to move to either England or Africa so I can get an accent so people will pay attention to me.
The accent is on. I'm being a romance king for real.
Right? Newlyweds. I want to ask you guys, you know, now that you're newlyweds, was it a little hard for any of you two when it came to the affection of hugging and holding hands a lot?
Can you hear us? Okay. For me, I'm not affectionate. That's not how I show my love. And he is very affectionate. So that was difficult getting used to, where it's like, why are you always hugging up on me? Why are you always kissing me? Why are you always this, that? And because I knew he loved me, that's not how I like to be loved all the time. So I think I've gotten a lot better in the 5 years we've been together, definitely. But
I think at the beginning, you know, I think the reason why I am so affectionate, you know, I like to consider Sienna my first real relationship. It doesn't mean that she was she's the only relationship I've ever been in, but it was the first time that I ever put the games aside and started taking things seriously. When we reconnected as adults, you know, I wasn't staying in Florida. I was moving to Ohio to pursue some career goals with my father, and get a job with him essentially right out of college. And so, you know, the distance kind of really strengthened our bond. I think that you know,
I don't mean to cut y'all off. I'm trying to see if it's just me. I really want to hear what y'all saying. Am I the only one where it sounds like they're a little low, like raspy? Okay, I'm gonna need y'all to do me a favor.
Get it?
Leave the link and then come back in.
Yeah,
because I want everybody to hear y'all's answer.
Okay.
It was good. Look, he said it was getting real good. Yeah, it might be the mic. The mic might be low. Say it again.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Okay, we'll try again.
Whatever they did the first time.
All right, say something again. Let me hear. No. Okay. We're going to give them a chance to leave and come back sometime. So I'm just going to let the couple who made the book, how was it for y'all when it came to doing this exercise?
Sister Goose, you're going to have to call us by our name.
Mr. and Mrs. Clark.
That'll work.
How
That'll
was
work.
How was it for you guys? I'm sorry, because Sister Goose do that a lot. How was it for you guys when it came to doing this exercise with the affection?
I think both of us, I know his love language, because we did the love language test years ago, but his love language has always been the touch. For me, it was affirmation. But once we learned that, and not that I'm not touchy-feeling, I love to hug, I love to touch and all of that. So for us, it has never really been an issue, you know. So if you look at us now, you know, I'm kind of leaning in over here. You know, that's because I like being close to him. He likes being close to me, and it just feels good. So I can't say that everybody is like that, but for us, it's just easy to do. And I think it's because we not only love each other, but we like each other too.
And also to add to that, working affection, you have to work out what works for you as a couple. You know, like a lot of people don't like public displays of affection, you know, hugging and kissing in public, and that doesn't work. But they affirm each other in their own space and in their own time.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to find out what works for you, and then you build upon that. Every couple on this call represent a custom relationship, and we have to put in the time to figure out what my relationship and my interaction looks like, not compared to anyone else's, but basically compared to what I want it to be. And so when you look at the book, Becoming, you see those different aspects and you decide, well, what does it look like when we plug ourselves into this aspect intentionally? You know, not just wondering, it's not just going to happen. None of these things will just happen. But when you intentionally plug yourself in, then you start having a custom-made designer relationship.
Man, did you love how he said that? He said custom made. We're custom made.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go back to our newlywed couple. Still the same question. We're still talking on the same subject about the affection. How it was for you guys. I think they gross. They might have to come share a camera with y'all, King.
Can you hear me?
Now is it better?
Yeah, turn your mic up.
Okay. So you're saying you're long distance.
Yeah, we're using my phone, so we'll try and get a little bit closer.
Is that better?
Can you hear us better now?
Yeah, I can hear you a little better now. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, you know, because we were long distance, I really, really liked this girl. And I knew that the long distance thing, the odds of it working out were pretty low, just because I understood that there is no way to give a kiss and there's no way to hug and just see each other, you know, and those are things that we kind of take for granted. So, you know, we kind of got a crash course in affection.
And so I had to really step up my game as far as communication went. And I became a little bit of a romantic because every word that I said to her had to reflect how I felt about her. She had to know beyond a reasonable doubt every day that I loved her. And, you know, because of the distance, you know, I knew that if I didn't play my cards right, someone who could be around and show that kind of affection, you know, would make her happier. And my goal as far as Sienna is concerned has always been to, you know, be the best person that I can be for her because I know what she deserves. And, you know, at the time when we met, it certainly wasn't me. I was a little bummed. You know, I didn't really know what I was up to in life, but it's always been a matter of doing my best in earnesty. And so, you know, that affection, it just kind of.
You know what?
Good stuff.
He said some good stuff, but I'm thinking that if you know how the internet kind of vacillates in and out. That's what I think is happening to him.
His the Wi-Fi signal is.
Well, we got the same Wi-Fi.
Different part of the house.
Different part of the house. They're not in the same place you are.
Yeah,
that's true. Because in my room it don't work right. All right, well, I think it's our turn to ask the question while they get themselves together, honey. You ready?
Oh, were you supposed to answer a question? I thought we were just hosting the show.
No, I told you it was So here's our question. Why is it important to speak life into your partner?
Speak life?
Yes. Do you know what I mean by that?
I'm thinking about the relaxed thing that I taught you.
Yeah, that's one too. But yeah, you can use that as an example. Go ahead.
This woman has so many jobs. I mean, so many.
Go ahead.
Ooh, this woman got so many jobs. She deserved to be a millionaire by now. She's a mother. She's a partner. She's a businesser. She's a nurse. She's a helper. She's a sister. She's a daughter. She got so many jobs.
I'm an orphan now too.
I was getting into that too. I was not going to forget your number one author. So she has so many jobs. I said, you know what? You need to relax. She's like, what do you mean relax? I can't relax. You have a partner now. It's time for you to relax. She's like, how can I relax? I was like, here's some money. Take the car. Go somewhere. Relax.
That's true.
Ever since that one day, she found well, it didn't take just one day, but a couple of times. It took some time to finally relax. A couple of years until we had children. Then there was another job.
Can y'all hear us? Somebody said something about the Wi-Fi. Okay. Are y'all able to hear us still?
Yeah, your Wi-Fi is a little choppy.
Okay, go ahead.
The speed is.
I don't know why I did that. Okay.
I'm gonna hear this to us.
Give me 1 second, everybody.
So how's everybody? How about everybody else doing?
We hear you all very well. We hear and see you all in real time.
There we go.
Okay. Well, let's retry this.
There she is.
Go ahead.
All
so
right,
I got 50 million jobs, and you had to teach me how to relax. That's where you was.
So yeah, I decided I was like, honey, I'm gonna take your mom. I'm gonna take the kids. Here's some money. Go out for the day. And like every Friday, I tried to do that for her. Just like, you know what? Just go out. Go for 4, 5, 8 hours. Doesn't matter. Just go out. Relax. Don't answer your phone if you see me calling. unless I say ASAP, emergency or something. Just go relax.
That's
and
true.
ever since then, she finally got like a piece of mind. See, she got time to make another job. Black girls ain't. Black kids ain't.
Huh?
I said that's 10 jobs in itself.
I know, right?
I'm like, geez, this woman, I tell her to relax and she relaxed and got another job.
I did.
She started writing books. I was like, okay, so that's a good thing. She's like, she's taking the time to do something she likes to do. But now, okay, now we're going to the computer. We're going live. We're going to YouTube. I'm like, gee, that's 3 more jobs after you got rid of one. Like,
That's true.
You're multiplied. Like,
yeah.
Man.
For me, it's different for him when I speak life into him. Sometimes he had very hard days. And me speaking life into him is reassuring him, letting him know I love him, letting him know, honey, it's okay that you feel overwhelmed, giving that comforting, reminding him he's a good man, he's a good father. And days he don't feel like he want to get out of bed, to encourage him. You know, babe, let's just start putting up first. You know, let's play a game for a little bit. Hey, why don't you come with me to the kitchen? You know, I speak life into him so he won't stay in his dark place. I help be, I'm that light. What would you always say? I'm your flashlight for you in your dark room. And I help guide him out of his dark place. And I hold his hand through it and let him know it is okay. I don't make him feel bad for it. It's okay that you're having a hard time, but just know I'm here with you to help you get through that hard time. So that's how I speak life into him. So with that being said, Mr. and Mrs. Clark, why was it important for you guys to put this encouragement chapter and speaking life into each other into this book?
It's important, and it all ties together. Now, when we were putting this book together, there were some other B expressions and attitudes. We had to stop. Matter of fact, we had to edit. We had over 50, and we had to edit back to where it was doable. So, as we stated earlier about accountability, speaking life, affirming, it's important because your partner is your person. This is who you're responsible for and responsible to. And we've had conversations recently about how important during this pandemic that self-help is. And sometimes we get confused that self-help is nails, pedicure, a good cut, you know, a massage, but it's way more than that. And speaking into each other's life is self-help. Self-care is what I mean, because it's a matter of building each other up and giving each other what we need, because the person next to you can see that real clearly, because you come home, you've had to keep up your defenses all over work, every place else. Nobody gets to know you, but the person at home, they know you. And so we have to kind of fall into a place of trusting enough. Our intimacy has to be developed enough where we can trust them to let them help us bear what we have to have, what we have to carry.
And also realizing that, you know, I don't know what everybody's faith and belief is, but, you know, I strongly believe in the part where God said he created us in his image, in his likeness, you know. So God is a speaking spirit. So we are too. Mm-hmm. So that means that there is really power in the words that we speak. So we can either choose to speak negative stuff over our spouses or our family or our friends, or we can choose to speak the positive, because out of our mouths can come blessings or curses, life or death. Mm-hmm. So what is it that you want as part of your very being. In my house, I want peace. I want life. I want joy. So those are the things that I'm going to speak, not only inside the walls of my house, but in the walls of his heart. You see what I'm saying? So we have to make sure that what we say, the power behind those words, and understand who we are as created beings, that we need to be aware and be careful of what we speak and what we say to each other or about each other. So that to me is affirmation. How do we affirm? Do we really affirm, or do we just say stuff?
I hope y'all all look. I love it. A lot of people saying they're loving this discussion. Look, I'm going to show just a few. Well, a lot of people are saying they love this discussion, and if y'all do, y'all got to make sure y'all go get this book. Okay, we're going to tell y'all the information when we're done to get this book, because everything we're talking about right now is in Mr. and Mrs. Park's book. Like, I can't hear me, I was laughing.
We're laughing because we're laughing because you sound like a chipmunk.
That's exactly why we laughing.
Yeah,
Well, let me ask this question to the newly coupled in before I keep making y'all laugh. Is it okay to agree to disagree, newly coupled? And I'm going on mute on that one. Is it okay to agree to disagree?
It is absolutely okay to agree to disagree, but it's important that your points are understood by both sides. I think the biggest problem with relationships is you've got two different perspectives. You know what I mean? With heterosexual relationships, at least, is the as far as I can tell, you've got men and women, and our perspectives on the world are so incredibly different. Our goals, our lives, our habits, our everything is so different. And the hardest part is always going to be bridging that gap between those two perspectives. And sometimes you're not going to see eye to eye on everything. And I think it's important that you can disagree in a relationship, because if you feel like you have to agree with everything that your significant other is saying, then you're losing a big part of what makes a person a person. You're losing your agency, your right to choose, your right to believe what you may believe. But that doesn't mean that you have to throw up walls and disagree on principle. I think it's important that you understand each other's points and you vocalize or verbalize why it is that you disagree.
And if you don't understand something, don't shut it down. Just because you don't understand, or make that person feel stupid or laugh. If you aren't understanding it, just ask a question. Or if you need to step away for a second because you're getting upset that you don't understand, step away and then come back. But let that person know, I may not understand you right now. I don't feel what you're feeling, but I'm there for you. I'm here for you, and I'm going to keep trying to understand.
Sometimes that makes all the difference in the world, because we all want to be understood, and it's not often that, especially men, it's not often that we really get a chance to talk about our feelings or talk about how something makes us feel. So I think it's important that you cultivate a safe place for you to have those thoughts and emotions, and that your significant other allows you to have those emotions without showing doubt.
I love that answer in my chipmunk voice. Mr. and Mrs. Park.
Okay.
Why was it important?
I'll say you gonna say it.
Sister Goose, it's not your voice that's chipmunk. The stream had you sped up really, really fast.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not your voice. you were talking at 20 times your rate.
I know what you mean. It does do that.
The screen would freeze, and then all of a sudden we get this burst. Yes. And that's what we were getting. So we all were laughing. It's not you. It's not you. Okay.
Look, this StreamYard be acting weird on us, but this is a good topic. I really do, though. I really want you guys to tell us why it was important to put this in your book about how it was okay for couples to not only be okay to disagree, but how to do it in a healthy way.
Okay. We in that chapter we talk about, and Ali and Sienna, that is exactly the tools that we need when we engage in confrontation and conflict. And we talk about that a lot because we need to make sure we respect the rules of engagement when we come together. And what we have learned in the course of our relationship is that for years, we would agree to disagree. And we would table things and come back to it. But we got a little different understanding along the way that we thought we'd change our language a little bit. And we decided that we were going to agree to agree. And it doesn't mean that we have the same opinion about everything. You follow me? What it means is that we are going to agree to move to agreement. And the reason why we're going to agree, because our whole goal is for the two of us to become one. So every opportunity we can get, we're going to be moving toward one. So even if we disagree right now, we're going to agree to agree, even if that means agreeing at a later date in time. If that means putting a tack in it, putting a staple in the page and coming back after we have meditated and prayed and got a little distance. But the goal and the words will be to agree, because sometimes we found that if we entertain agreeing to disagree, that sometimes we will leave it there and we will not be compelled to bridge the difference. Does that make sense? It's like, that's just the way I am. That's just the way you are. And that's true. And to respect each other and love each other properly, we should always respect the way I am and the way you are. But if we're trying to agree, some of the ways that are just the way I am need to be adjusted. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. So if the way I am gets in the way of us understanding how to become one, if the way I am, the way I like to spend money, gets in the way of how our household needs to profit and move forward, then I need to be willing to adjust the ways that I am. So I need to be able to move toward agreement, even if it costs me to change the way I am, because I can be the way I am all by myself, but that's not why we got together. We got together so we could be two whole people coming together to make a new whole thing that never existed and never will exist, because nobody will ever be us. No one will ever come together like us. So the potential is boundless and the union is amazing. So we are agreeing to agree to make that happen.
I love that. Brother Goose had to go handle my kids, y'all. So I'm gonna have to host the rest of this by myself, But with that being said, I'm about to ask the couples each one last round of questions. And also, I want you to know, if you look in the comments, if you're enjoying our conversation and you want to purchase Mr. and Mrs. Clark's book B, it is in the comment. They put the link in the comment under the name Love Alive. If you want to go and purchase their book and you're just excited and like, man, I need to get this book, I can't wait. Well, it's in the comments if you want to get it while you listen to us talking. So you can go ahead and look in them comments and get that book right now. Yeah, Sister Goose is on it.
I'm trying to get 40 years.
What'd you say?
I'm trying to get my 40 years in.
Right? And it's a really
that's a
good book.
roadmap.
I'm talking from a reader because I read the book. It's definitely a really, really good book, and they give you an exercise in each chapter to do. So it's a very good book to do with your couple, and not just for couples, but for relationships, period. So definitely check out this book. And with that being said, my lovely couple, Mr. and Mrs. Ooh, aka 21 Years, I gotta ask them this question specifically because their book is about this. Why is it so important for couples to work on communication? Why is it so important for couples to work on communication?
It's so interesting listening to the different stories, and I think for me personally, it was the conversation I had with Latoya when I first met her that drew me to her, and the ease at which I could speak with her, the fact that there were no awkward silences, and we could just talk. And across the time, we've learned that there are different types. For us, we've discovered there are different types of communication, and that could be, like administrative type stuff, like day-to-day organizational stuff. There could be communicating about our needs and our challenges and our anxieties and our fears and all those kind of things. There's lots of levels of communication, both spoken and unspoken. But what we find is that we can get through anything if we keep those communication lines open. So just like on this call, we've had issues with the communication. The internet's been in and out and stuff like that. And it requires you to be very attentive, to really listen, to get, and I think that I moved from listening to respond to listening to understand, and to truly hear what she was saying and not just kind of be in the same room while she was talking. And I think it's important, or I think it's important to build that in, because that's like the mortar that holds the bricks together. You can do so much stuff, you can do lots of activities and stuff, but I always say to her, if everything that we had was taken away, we would still have our conversation. We could rebuild anything. We could bounce back from any setback because we can talk it through. And we don't throw our head into the sand, and we don't turn away, and we talk, and we talk about any and everything. Do you want to tell them about Teresa? About talking?
Yeah, before I say that,
yeah.
I was going to say communication is, for us, it's a way of, we learn more about each other when we talk. So there's stuff we're still learning, like 26 years in, we're still learning about each other. And I think if you don't talk, you don't learn anything else about each other and as a couple together. Our daughter, the 13-year-old, she came in one day and she said, you know what I love about you two? You're just always talking. You talk about anything. Or what is there even to talk about? And literally, like, we know we talk, but we didn't realize we spoke that much. We will just be in a room and having conversations about anything and everything, So it's good because the kids are learning that you can, when you find someone, you can talk about anything. Anything, nothing's too much, nothing's too little, and I think it's just another tool to learn about each other.
One final thing, I think that what I discovered was that even though we live in a similar part of London, or we grew up in similar parts of London, well, she was in East London, I was in South London, but on paper it could look like we were very similar, culturally very similar. But in our households, we were different.
Yeah, we had different speech.
Yeah, there was just certain things that were just so different. So I had to learn her language, like literally the things, some of the stuff she would say, I'd be like, what does that mean?
Yeah. one of the things I used to say was pull the door to. and
I couldn't understand. So it means to bring the door close to the frame, but don't close it.
Don't close it completely. And he was like, what does that mean?
Yeah, I was like, why would you do that? You either leave it open or closed. Right? But
no.
Other little things, like just little quirks about the way that we would do things differently in our families. And we said to Sister Goose yesterday, we were able to decide what we were going to take forward and what we were going to leave behind. And we could build our own as a family, you know, as a couple, and then as a family, we built our own culture. And we've built our own communication. And, you know, hopefully our kids see it and can use it. But then they get to choose again. When they step out, they get to choose their own path. And, you know, hopefully some of the stuff they see, they'll take forward. But that's going to be for them, isn't it?
Yeah. I think your partner, your husband, would be the person you love to talk to the most.
Oh, and I always say this: if you have to get out of your bed to talk to your best friend, you've married the wrong person.
Say that. I love y'all's answer. I love it. Right? Look, King of Romance don't snap out like that, but he just snapped for that. So I'm going to ask Mr. and Mrs. Clark, why was it important to put that in your book B about communication?
Number one, they were absolutely correct. And it's so important. Sometimes we fall into natural patterns of communication. But if you don't, then it's very important to form habits of effective communication. And if you don't know really how to do that, then there are some methods, and we have some methods, but some of those things that they mention about talking about anything, being able to be friends, being able to move from subject to subject. And there's one thing we talk about that in communication, establishing intimacy in communication. And intimacy in communication just means that you learn to trust each other, the words, the meaning, the inferences. Know that you don't mean each other any harm. Have intimacy and believe that this person is for my good, even if I don't understand, even if it doesn't make sense. Like we were talking about, we come from different cultures, and we have a conversation about that. In our area, we ask, one of the questions we'll ask couples, in your household, do you put sugar on your grits or salt? because it may determine.
We use cheese.
Sugar.
it may have a lot to say about where you come from and how you were raised, and that will determine a lot about how you communicate. Now, it's not right or wrong, but it's your truth. And when we come together, we have to learn to respect those truths. Because now, you know, if you told me you put sugar on grits, I would just say that's wrong. That's not good. But, you know, I know a lot of people who put sugar on grits. Now, I'll put salt and cheese and butter, but sugar, no. Somebody said sugar on grits, they got something for that. They call it cream of wheat. See? But that's a conversation. That's a conversation. And so we learn to make headways in effective communication by talking things out. And we suggest that you do this before you get to those heavy conversations where you've got to make decisions about important things. And you have very strong opinions that are differing. Learn how to come together over a meal learn how to come together over doing the laundry. You know what I mean? Or seeing to the children, dividing up duties and learning how to work together. And we maintain that every couple is good at something, or else we wouldn't be together. So sometimes we don't really give ourselves credit for all the good things that we work out. Some of it is nonverbal communication, some of it's verbal. So don't define yourself by the things that you struggle with, whether it's in communication or coming together. Think about all the wins that you have, all the pluses, all the things that you do that are seamless, that you don't even have to communicate. That's the goal that you want to build upon, and not look at what I'm struggling with or what I can't do or what's a problem, because you've come through and you've overcome so much just to be right here.
That's it.
Can I just ask, is grits like porridge? Like for us over here, we don't have grits.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. I forgot y'all from England. Y'all, they was like
It's like porridge.
Yeah. We're almost done, everybody. I'm about to ask the King of Romance a question, the newlyweds a question, and then we'll answer one last question and we'll be ending the show soon. So with that being said, King and Queen of Romance, why do you feel in a relationship that it is important to be 100 and 100 in both percents for you and her in the relationship and not 50-50?
Yeah, because you can't give half. 50-50 is half of me. So I have to give 100% because I expect 100% back.
Mm-hmm. And I'm giving 99%. I agree. Like, definitely. I give 100%, and she gives 100%, and guess what? I mean, it's going to explode. Like I never understood the 50-50 thing, because if I'm only giving you half of me and you giving me half, we're not giving our all,
right?
So I do think that I have to, and I say 100% in the meaning that I know I'm not perfect, so I give 100% on trying to do better at times, or trying to because I mean I'm setting my ways at times, and I got to be able to give my percentage that's going to help out and make that relationship, like he said, like Mr. Clark said earlier, we got to help us become one, and if it's going to take 200% to make us one, then I'm cool with that.
Okay, Leela, you got you a good one there, girl.
100.
Yes, 100.
I got me 100 too. Think about it.
So I think y'all did, Mr. and Mrs. Clark, did y'all want to comment on that, or did you want me to move to the next couple? Did you want to give some more 2 cents on that, or why you put it in the book?
Oh, well, the reason why we put that in the book is because we've heard so often 50-50. You give 50, I give 50. But the reality is if both of us came into a relationship with 50% of each one of us, we have nowhere to go. If we have a bad day and I'm just at 50% and he's at 50%, we're going to crash. We're going to clash like titans.
50 is failing.
50 even in school is a fail. That's an F. So what are you going to do with that? So coming into a relationship 100%, doing everything that you know to do to make sure that your marriage stands the test of time. Because the reality is every day I'm not going to be at 100%. There just may be days that I have a bad day. But if he's at 50% and I'm at 30%, my God, he has nothing to give to me, and vice versa. Because we have to be able to balance each other out at those low points of our lives. You know what I'm saying? Those, like I said, those days where our energy is not there, those days when I can't give you my everything, you know. So how can you feed back into me and lift me up with just 50%?
Exactly. And like the King of Romance said, he's giving 200%. So if it's a slow day for Layla, he has it covered. And there may come a day when he may need to be covered. And we are the guardians of each other's solitude. We are the protectors of each other's peace. So our plan is to always be able to respond to the need of our partner.
Snaps to that.
Yep. Snap for that.
Newlywed couple, it's your turn.
Can you repeat the question?
No, I'm about to ask you a different question. I got a different question for you. I know she was like I was feeling the answers. I forgot the question. My question for you guys is, why do you think it's so important to be forgiving in your relationship with your partner if they mess up?
Yeah.
Why do you think it's so important to be forgiving in your relationship?
Well, no one's perfect. Outside of relationships, we make mistakes. So if I'm not at my best one day, and like going back to the conversation we were having, he's at 100, maybe I'm at 50 that day, just because I had a bad day at work or something's going on with my friend, something outside of our relationship or even inside of our relationship. If we can forgive each other, we can always move past it. We can always continue to move forward and to learn from our mistakes so that we can be better in the future. And, he's always supported me, and no matter what I want to do, even if it's something that I thought I wanted to do and I end up that's not for me, he's always been there. So I like to give him a chance to explain himself, or, to talk about things, whatever it is, agree or disagree.
I think that has to be earned. And I like the way that your book is set up, Mr. and Mrs. Clark, because it seems like each one of the chapters builds into the other. These things are all prerequisites for each other. You know what I mean? You can't expect to be forgiven without putting in 100%. And a big part of putting in 100% is communication. When I was listening to you speak, Anthony, the thing that came to my head was that, for men, our women are our shelters. They're the places that we go for respite from this world. And this world is rough and rugged and tough. And we can only get what we put in. And I think that if you put in your all, it goes back to what you were saying. If I have a bad day and I only got 50% for you, you know that I had you yesterday, and you know that I got you tomorrow. I just need you to cover the bill today.
I will.
I gotta tell you, sis, you got a good man over there. Let's give a snap to the good man on the panel.
Hey, Sister Jules, let me say something real quick. I'm gonna tell you why I know I got a good woman. Because she raised her.
Yep.
My daughter.
So with that being said,
give a snap to the good women too. Let's get
it. She raised her and she found a good man. So I know I got a good woman.
There you go. There it is.
I just wish at 20 years old I had that much wisdom. Because at 20 years old, I was not that smart. For real. You know what I'm saying? I literally was not, like, I probably would have been married. No, I wouldn't, because God sent me her right on time. But still, at 20 years old, I was not that smart. Well, not 20. They 20, what,
25? 20, I'm 20. So, she's robbing the grave or the cradle. She's robbing the cradle. She likes.
So in my 20s, I wasn't that smart.
I feel you. Mr. and Mrs. Clark, why was it important to talk about the forgiveness and the relationship in your book?
Because we have come to realize that forgiveness and forgiving is a process. It's an ongoing process. And it's important to explore forgiving because we all stand in the need of forgiveness. We're not perfect. So no matter how good we think we are, how perfect, we all make mistakes. Mm-hmm. We all, sometimes we injure each other unintentionally. But we found that even if I injure her inadvertently, she's still hurt. You see what I'm, it doesn't change the fact that I didn't mean it. Mm-hmm. You know, if my elbow bumps her head, it hurts just the same if I intentionally hit her in the head. You see, so recovery needs to be dealt with the same way. She's going to have to deal with pain. I need to ask for forgiveness. We have to process the whole process. So forgiveness is just one of those things, because we're not perfect, that we understand that you need to practice it. There's a verse in the Bible, if you're familiar with, when they ask, how many times am I supposed to forgive someone? In the old law, it says you're supposed to forgive somebody 70 times. 70 times. 7 times, I mean. 7 times. And after the 7th time, I don't have to forgive you anymore. Okay, and when they asked Jesus, is that sufficient? And he said, no, you need to forgive 70 times 70. And I've heard a lot of people wonder, what did that mean? And what I come to understand what that means is that you forgive and you keep forgiving until you forget about what you're forgiving. You keep forgiving until it doesn't matter. Because if we're operating in union and in love, I keep forgiving. I keep forgiving. And after a while, that thing doesn't matter because we grow beyond. Because love covers a multitude of faults. And forgiveness reestablished my sincerity and my position, you know, so that she won't have resentment and she won't be harboring things about me because I didn't own up to it. I didn't address it. You see what I'm saying? So forgiveness allows us to own up to our faults, the injury. And so it's good to do this on a regular basis, to ask for forgiveness, to extend forgiveness. And sometimes even when we don't use the word, I like the word compassion, because compassion allows you to extend grace and forgiveness to people who don't even ask for it. Because that's what we need. That's what we receive from other people. That's what we receive from God, just compassion. Like, no, you don't deserve it. You didn't ask for it. But because you need it, I'm just going to extend it. And sometimes I don't have grace. I don't have compassion, but I tap into the larger source of grace, love, and compassion. And I recognize that in our relationship, we understand, and I mentioned this earlier, that in Proverbs it says, or Proverbs,
I don't know which
one of those books, it says a 3-stranded cord, it says 2 is better than 1. So 2 is better than 1. And a 3-strand cord is not easily broken. And basically what the writer was saying is that 2 of us is better. We can do more than 1 of us can do. If 2 walk together, they can help each other when they fall. That's what the book says. And so we can strengthen each other. Now, our relationship is both horizontal and vertical. So the horizontal is that here we are, you see us. We support each other. We're physical, we're tangible. We need an extra strand of support in our relationship, and that's the vertical one. So we appeal to a higher power. We appeal to God to help us with what we can't do. And in those times when we don't have enough, when I can't forgive, I can't forgive and forget. So I have to deal with it. I have to keep dealing with it. So I need help for that. And sometimes she needs help dealing with me. So I have to appeal to something bigger than us. And that's what has brought us through. Not just the 2 chords, but the third chord that makes us not easily broken apart.
That was powerful. My goodness, right? Powerful. Okay, I'm going to ask the last question of the night from Mr. and Mrs. Goose. Are you ready? Yeah. Okay. The question is, why, when you are in a committed relationship, should breakup be an option? When you are in a committed relationship, marriage, should breakup be an option?
Why you gotta give me the hard one? I go to bed with you.
Because I knew that you would know the answer. I was assuming I knew you well enough to know. I didn't want to give nobody else that question because I know you.
Y'all get the easy one.
Should breakup be an option?
Well, it depends on what kind of breakup you're talking about.
Okay, let's be specific. Should breakup be an option in this marriage?
No.
Why do you feel that way, though? For real. Because this is something me and him talked about before, so I love that it was in your book. Why do you feel like breakup shouldn't be an option?
Because I ain't trying to start all over again. I gotta look for somebody to try to figure out who is good to be around my kids and all that. I ain't got time for all that. Pandemic is real. COVID's out there. Shit is real.
Wait, that's the answer you're going to give?
No.
Okay, give the real answer.
Like for real, I really ain't trying to start all over. Like my heart is already stuck here. My spot already set my spot here. I already made my comfort nest. I'm not going nowhere. Unless it's time for mine to go upstairs, I ain't going nowhere.
Yes. And for me, it's the same. I told you plenty of times, whatever it is, we're going to work it out. We're going to make it through. There is no quitting for me because I love him and I know he's meant for me. And if we just keep practicing our tools and keep working on our communication and doing the work, then I don't think we'll ever have to worry about breakup being an option. Because as I said yesterday with the other lovely couple, the Udo couple, is that if you keep practicing these tools that they give us in B and then in their book too, so whenever a big situation does come up, you already know how to handle it because you've been practicing them tools with communication, with forgiveness, with understanding each other, that 100%. All the things we talked about, if you are practicing all these tools, even when you don't have an issue, when you do go through the storm, you should be able to make it because we already know how to use these tools now. And it's time to put the tools to work. So breakup is not an option for me. And me and him, we stuck together for life. We didn't say that. Ain't no breakup here. But I really wanted to know what made Mr. and Mrs. Clark put that in their book, because I thought that was a deep question.
Well, one of the reasons why we put be divorce proof, I believe is what you're talking about. One of the reasons why we put that in the book is because I Want a Divorce had been one of those things that people tend to throw out without thinking about it. And once you throw that out, it kind of sets the stage for, it changes the atmosphere. Because I don't know when you might tell me that you want a divorce. I don't know when you might decide that you want to walk away. You see what I'm saying? So it changes the tone of the relationship. So when we made our vows, did we really mean that we were going to be there in sickness and in health, for better, for worse? And sometimes worse to me could, be that we can't communicate well. I might not be giving him enough sex. He might want to, you see what I'm saying? So it's all of those things. So what does that look like to you? And are you really saying that because that's what you want? Or are you saying that because you want to hit below the belt? But once it's out there, you can't take it back. So when you make those vows, be in it for the long haul. Have some stick to it power. you know, and don't throw out anything that you don't want, you know, to set up discourse in your marriage.
Also, if you take it off the table, that it's not an option, then it's not available. It's just not, that's not an option. Now, we encourage people all the time. Now, if there's a situation of abuse, mental, physical, if there's a situation of criminal activity, if your situation is unsafe, please leave. Please get out of that situation.
Right.
But if it's just because we have some attitude problems, we have some problems about working things out, we should take that off the table, because as long as it's on the table, it's an option. And as long as it's an option, I can do it. And I might do it, and I probably will do it. And the other thing is that we found out that divorce is contagious.
It is.
There was one particular situation where this couple was saying they were newly married and they lived in a community. They lived on a street, and there were about 8 couples, young couples that were married and beginning families. And they fellowshipped, and they all, you know, they'd be in the yard. They just had a nice community. Well, it started that one couple down the street had some issues. They got a divorce. And everybody was like, ooh, what happened? They got a divorce. And then a few months later, another couple ran into some problems. They got a divorce. Okay. And everybody's like, you know, and you start talking about, well, you know, I understand, or you start justifying it, or you're trying to figure out why and whether or not that was reasonable. And then a little bit later, a third couple broke up, got a divorce. This particular couple said, let's move. We got to get out of here. They actually sold their house and moved somewhere else because they felt that influence. That's why it's so important to make sure you make your group, your tribe, your village, your community, people who speak power and encouragement and life into your relationship. Because it doesn't take much to destroy. You know, everybody has words that can destroy, but you want to seek people who have words that can build and words that have life. And divorce is not a word of life. It does not build us up. It gives us an option to break down.
Man, give them some snaps for that. I want to thank all the couples who was here with us today. We had all different age range, and I love how everyone, thank you for being open about your relationships, your custom relationships. I like how Mr. Clark said that. Thank y'all for sharing your custom relationships with us and your experience and your answers. I hope that everyone who was watching enjoyed this. I really want to thank my hubby for helping me host this show, because I know normally she's watching the kids and stuff. I know. Thank you, babe.
Thank you, Mr. Goose.
He said I got 50 million jobs, but he still be supporting me. So thank you, baby.
Yeah, you lose one and you make another 5 more.
I know.
So she decided to take a vacation from Black Girls Inc. while she come up with Sister Inc. or something later.
I'm not going to. He got jokes, but he might not be lying. But
all my sisters,
I know, right? But thank you so much, because if it was not for this man, there would be no Sister Goose, because he watched the kids for me. He helped take care of my mom for me. I'm able to be on this show and interview everyone because of my lovely husband right here, who steps in and takes the role of being the parent and the caregiver and does anything I need him to do in this space. So thank you, babe. I know, right? All right, so before we go, I gotta make sure that y'all know where to get this book, B, from Mr. and Mrs. Clark. So can you please remind them where they can go get your book and share your platform and anything else you would like to? The mic is yours.
Okay, our book can be found on Amazon.com. There's a link in the comments that you can click on and go there. We are also on social media streams. We are Love Alive. We have a page there. We're on IG at love_alive. We're on Twitter at lovealive1. We are on Facebook. We just said Facebook, I think. Facebook, Love Alive. Yes, I did. And we are also on YouTube under Love Alive. So connect with us so you can stay informed about the things that we are doing. We do have a once a month meeting the first Friday of each month. So you're welcome to join us for that, where we just have intimate conversations with any couple that want to come on, anybody that's single. Just, yes, pretty much so like we're doing now. And everybody has an opportunity to talk and to share. And we try to make sure that it's a safe place for people to engage, you know. So those are the things that we're doing. And again, our book is on Amazon. So check us out.
Okay, and I want to make sure we give some kudos to Sister Goose.
Yes.
For inviting us and bringing us together and always remembering us and valuing what we do. We value you and who you are. And we really appreciate you all hosting us this evening.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Because I'm telling y'all, I really do love their book. And if I didn't love the book and I didn't believe in what they was doing, I wouldn't make a whole episode off of it. And so also just stay tuned, y'all, because this summer we're going to do something like this again. And we're going to use our other couple's book down there, Mr. and Mrs. Oodle down there. We're going to use their book, Bulletproof, next time when we do a couple's panel. We're going to use their book. So I thank you all for being here. Thank everyone for watching. Thank the couples for being here and being a part of this. I'm your girl, Sister Goose.
And I'm Father Goose.
Yeah, and we are Black Girls Inc. Snap you later.